Welcome to the Growth and Influence podcast. I am excited to have you here today for a couple of reasons. If you've been following this show for a while, you know that it's changed course a little bit, and I think I owe you an explanation. And I'm excited about having that explanation out in the open, and I'm excited about sharing with you the new direction that the podcast is going, which is going to come, we're going to pull it back a little bit onto the original path that I created when I started this podcast. And it's just going to be me talking. This is going to be a little bit of I'm just kind of going off the cuff here. I'm going to talk about why I created the podcast, what it means for my career and my life, and why it's important to me. And so I hope this is enjoyable to you. And if it is, then I think I'm making the right choices. And if not, send me feedback, let me know, and I'll take that into consideration. Welcome to the Growth and Influence podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Schultz, and this podcast is about the fascinating convergence of two massive movements or principles in our economy: persuasive marketing and selling, and personal development. The principles that lead to personal growth and happiness are not always aligned with the principles of persuasive marketing, and yet almost anything that can serve people and the world has to be marketed. We're in search of answers. Let's go. On a personal note, the reason that I started this podcast was because I have a desire to help kids who are in spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional poverty. I should put that in a different order: spiritual, mental, emotional poverty, and physical poverty. I put physical last because the whole world tries to go help people like this by addressing their physical poverty problems. And back in 2007, I had this desire to provide mentorship for kids who just didn't have mentors. I really appreciated those in my life who had taught me things and helped me get to the point where I was at. That was early in my career. I just graduated college, and included parents who loved me and taught me well, and also other examples that I'd learned from, both professionally, educationally, and all of those things. And I didn't act on that because I didn't know how. I didn't know how that I could, make a difference for kids who needed mentorship. So, here we are 17 years later, and I'm finally acting on this. I wanted to create this podcast to help those kids who were in that kind of poverty learn principles so that they could fix the spiritual, mental, and emotional aspects of their poverty, and then they could take care of the physical aspects of their poverty much easier. Instead of what the government does, or a lot of charitable organizations do, which is they try to go address the physical poverty, but it'll never be fixed while spiritual, emotional, and mental poverty still exists. Now, I know that you can live in poverty no matter where you live and no matter what your lifestyle is. And it's a simple example, but I tell my kids this all the time because my kids have some DNA that every kid is messy, right? But I think my kids have some DNA in them that makes them really, really sloppy physically. And I tell them all the time, hey, you can, it doesn't matter. I have, my son is always talking about how he's going to be rich when he grows up. And I'm like, it doesn't matter how rich you are. You're still going to live in a ghetto. You can live in a ghetto in the biggest mansion if it looks like your bedroom looks right now. It doesn't even matter. And that's a simple example, but it illustrates how true the fact is that poverty is a state of mind. And until you fix that state of mind and that way of being, you're still going to be in poverty. Even if somebody's given you a monthly stipend to cover your rent and your food, you're still in poverty. So the goal that I have, and the reason that I want to build this marketing agency as big as I can, and my goal is to build it to $100 million, what I call growth firm. And that growth firm is going to be a concept that I'm creating where we not only bring amazing marketing strategies and tactics and services into the companies that we serve in B2B SaaS, but we also bring personal development, coaching, and principles into everything we do with those companies so that we can help them to serve the world in a way that is not only more profitable and more successful, but also more virtuous and more true. And so I'm not sure exactly how that's going to come together yet, but that's the goal. But as I grow that agency to that size, I'm not going to wait until that happens. And I'm going to get started early. I want to create this nonprofit organization. And the working name I have for it right now is Reject Poverty. So a nonprofit called Reject Poverty, and that's what we're going to teach kids to do. I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I live here in Utah. There are church buildings of our church all over the place, and they sell these buildings when they get old enough. And my idea and the vision that I have for this is that I'm going to buy one of those buildings, and they're all kind of structured the same way. They have a chapel for worship, like the worship services as a group. And then they have, right behind that, they have a gym. We call it the cultural hall. But it's a basketball court. Sometimes it's a full court. Sometimes it's a smaller court. But there's a basketball court there. And then behind that, there's a stage. Outside of that like kind of core piece is our classrooms. And I want to take those classrooms when I buy this building and turn them into bedrooms where these kids can come live. Now, I don't even know what the rules are for having a kid come live at a place like this. If they're homeless or even if they're not homeless, but they're in a really bad situation and they need to get out. I don't know how you get kids out of there and into here, but they're going to come live here. And so we'll figure that out. But they're going to come live here, and I don't think they're going to go back because I don't think they should. My thinking right now is that they don't need to go back to the place where all their old behaviors are anchored. They need to get out of that place and be free from that. And so they're going to live here, and I don't know if it'll be a month or 6 months or a year, but they will be coached. And they will have their emotional and mental poverty are going to be coached out of them by hardcore, committed, and high-level coaches. And this is not social work. Okay, this is a very different approach. These are coaches, and maybe I would love to get some of the best coaches in the world to come and just do a session or a week or something here to make a difference in the lives of these kids, and take this coaching curriculum and just give them the coaching that will change their minds and their hearts and their understanding of what's possible in their lives forever. Their spiritual poverty will address that by giving them the gospel of Jesus Christ. And they will leave this place with all the tools they need to get themselves out of physical poverty, but to then just go make an amazing difference in the world. We're not trying to get them into an accounting job that pays $25 an hour so they're just not poor. We want them to go out and be transformed and transform the lives of other people through whatever they decide to do. We'll probably give them opportunities for professional and financial development as they matriculate from this program and leave. But that's Reject Poverty. And that's part of the reason I want to build this marketing agency, is so that I can fund this nonprofit organization and set an example for these kids and show them like what I've done and what you can do and teach them the principles. So that again is marketing, supporting this level of service through personal development and coaching. That's what I want to do in my business. And that's what I want to do in this podcast, is give you both of those topics so that you can make a bigger difference in the world. Because it doesn't matter how philanthropic or virtuous your desire is, if you don't know how to be the person who can do it, and you don't know how to market it once you get started, your reach and your scope are going to be limited. So, just an example of a principle that I know could make an impact on the lives of these kids is something that I learned from Tony Robbins. and that is the power of your focus in your life. And if you are somebody who's growing up in pure poverty, and you have parents who don't set good examples, parents who, like I was just talking to somebody the other day who grew up in a place where there was a lot of poverty. And he was describing the mindset, and he's like, literally, if everybody around you, they look at life like this. There's a car over there. We don't have anything in our lives. There's a car over there. Somebody parked it there. And if I go and I open that door and I find something of value inside, I just got something of value. It's free. And that's how I'm going to live my life. If that's your mindset, your focus is on what you don't have. And there are actually three things. What will you focus on? That's decision number one. What does it mean? Decision number two. And what am I going to do about it? Decision number three. So the scenario I just described to you, your focus is on what I don't have. I don't have much in my life. Other people have more. That's the focus. What does it mean? It means that I need to go get whatever I can in whatever ways are possible so that I can, survive and have some nice things in life. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go look for cars that are unlocked and take things out of them, or look for other ways to take things from other people. Nobody has ever introduced the idea that if you work hard, I'm sure they've seen public service advertisements or whatever, but nothing has ever landed with them. They've never had a credible source tell them that you, specifically you, can change your life by changing the way that you think, changing what you focus on, what you decide that it means, and what you decide to do about it. That's just one of the many coaching principles that could make such an incredible impact in the lives of these kids. And so, and it can make an incredible impact in our lives each day, no matter where we're at in the world. And so that's, this podcast is going to come a little bit more back to that original place where I started it, because I really don't, the brand that I want to build for my professional life is not simply about the persuasive part of marketing, although that's part of it, but it's about all of this. It's about becoming a person who can make an impact through skills like marketing or any other skills that you might have that could be served by you becoming somebody bigger than you are today through personal development and coaching. And so future episodes are going to go back to that. It's going to be a little bit more of a hybrid of those topics, which honestly, I'm really excited for because that gets me really amped up. And I hope it does you too. If you have any feedback on what I've shared, please share it. I'm more than happy to take your feedback and consider it and think about where this podcast is going now. You can send a voice note. I have yet to get one of those, but if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can send a voice note to me and I can put your voice on the show. If you don't want me to, just tell me and I won't. But if you do, I can put your voice on the show. We can hear you and I can respond. That'd be super fun. I have yet to get the first one of those and I really would love to do that. So send me a voice note. Let me know what you think about this and any other ideas or feedback you have on where this could go. I'm excited to hear it. And if you think this is valuable, if it's serving other people and you think this would be good for the world to have, then give it a high 5-star rating on your podcast distribution app of your choice and share it with other people. And I hope you have a great day. I'm so grateful that you've been here today, and we'll see you next time on the Growth and Influence podcast.